Hi, I'm Wyatt.
And I'm Grace.
And you're listening to our dad and your host of the Vacation Rental Revolution podcast.
What's up, guys? Welcome to Tuesday's Tips. These are going to be new episodes that we're going to post on the Odyssey Vacation Rental Revolution podcast. I'm your host, Shawn Moore, and our Tuesday's Tips are going to be not our full-length episodes that we release every Friday, but every Tuesday we're going to come at you with some questions that we get throughout the week that we will tackle. Sometimes they're mindset, sometimes they're about the market, sometimes they're about tactics and strategies in the short-term rental game, and they will be revolving around questions we get. And this is, what I will do is I'll try to get some of those questions that we get on a regular basis, or at least the theme that we see and hear on a regular basis. The one I want to talk to you about today, to start it off and kick off our Tuesday's Tips, is really about learning to set your ego aside. One of the questions we got from a gentleman that we were talking about our Odyssey mentorship program, which is an expensive program. It's a very intense program for people diving into the short-term rental game who want to do it correctly and want to understand how to invest, understand that acquisition phase, the setup and management phase, and ultimately the marketing phase, kind of a soup to nuts program and blueprint mentorship program to help people dive into this game, do it successfully with a actual plan instead of just riding these market waves that we see a lot of people doing. So this gentleman came in and told you about the program. Sounds awesome, sounds really helpful. I've looked at a lot of your case studies, listened to your podcast, heard some people on it. Sounds like you help a lot of newbie investors. And I happen to be pretty experienced. I'm a successful business owner. I bought a commercial property. We run our business out of it. We've got some money in the bank. We've got, so I'm familiar with investing in real estate and really wanting to know what you can do to help me. And the next paragraph, that's a summary. The next paragraph was saying, what I'm really looking for is understanding the markets, the best markets. Can you point me toward the best markets to invest in? Are you able to show me some of the best properties that we can buy with the best returns? And then ultimately, a lot of these markets seem really saturated. So how can we stand out in the market? So that's really what I'm looking for because I pretty much understand the real estate game. So that's a summary of the email. And maybe you think that you relate to that email. Maybe you hear it and think like I do and think, man, that seems really contradictory. You tell me you're an expert, but you're asking me some of the very basic things. You're asking me about the markets. You're asking me about how to analyze deals. You're asking me how to stand out in crowded markets. And to me, you're not an expert in this space. And not to be rude or condescending, I'm sure, and I already know, and everybody that's listening to this, everybody's an expert in their own right in different arenas. So what I always challenge people to do is set your ego aside and say, is this the arena that I'm an expert in? And is this the road that I want to run down? And so when you start to ask some of those questions and think, okay, am I an expert? And he says, you seem to work with a lot of newbie investors. You guys, I've been doing this for a long time. We have some of our members who make 7 figures a year, over $1 million a year in passive income, net income, not gross income, net income, doing this. Guess what we do? We follow the exact same blueprint as the person who is buying their very first property. Think about it like, I listen to stories about Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan. What made them so good and what makes anybody the best of the world at any particular avenue that somebody is running down. If you're the best in the world, Tiger Woods in golf when he was at the very top of the game, they do the fundamentals all day, every day. They do the things that most people quit on. They practice layups. Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan, they practiced chest passes. They practiced layups. They practiced free throws. Those are the things that they did thousands of times a day. Where most people are saying, I already know how to play basketball. I already know how to do layups. I'm gonna work on these fancy shots. The reason they're the best is because they practiced the fundamentals all day, every day. Guys, most people don't build long-term wealth. They don't build passive income streams because at the end of the day, it's fairly boring. It's fairly monotonous. It takes some discipline to do the same thing over and over and over again and understand what opportunity looks like. Understand how to underwrite the deals because you understand the fundamentals of the game. Because you buy a commercial piece of property, because you own multifamily properties, does not mean you're going to understand how to underwrite a vacation rental or a short-term rental. The same as if I understand vacation rentals, short-term rentals, I'm not going to understand that other game. Well, I've been doing this for a long time, for 22 years. We can show you how to do the things that we have been doing in this space. We've helped thousands of people now in the space, in this game. We don't teach something different to the newbies and the experts. And I have, like I said, experts in our space that could go out and teach this better than most people who teach it, because they're actually producing, they're creating, they're actually going through that process of following the fundamentals, understanding the three major phases: acquisition, setup and management, and marketing, and how to stand out. It's the same thing. A lot of times people will say, man, Shawn, you're ruining the game because you're getting all these people coming in. It's, the wave is coming in and all these markets are getting more and more saturated. And now I don't know, it makes it harder to play. Well, it's harder to play because you don't understand the game. I get so excited when markets get saturated, because you know what saturated markets means? It means there's high demand for that market. And so if you know how to stand out in market and not become obscure in an overcrowded market, then you get your unfair share of business. And so Tuesday's tip: set your ego aside. Ask yourself, and these questions are between you and you. You don't have to answer me. You don't have to answer to anybody else. Look in the mirror and say, am I really an expert? Why am I reaching out? Why am I listening to this dude on, his podcast? And if you want some help, we're here. Reach out. We've got a mentorship program. We've got a coaching program. You've got all kinds of free stuff. I'm trying to put all of our stuff out on social platforms, on YouTube, on podcast. Ultimately, yes, we know it's going to grow our mentorship program. We know ultimately a small percentage of you are going to raise your hand and say, hey, I want to run down that road. And we know it's going to be a small percentage, because guess what? Most people sit and drift through life. Most people are going to sit on the sidelines and they're going to let the waves, ride the waves up, ride the waves down. And that's okay. We know that. That's not who we want to work with. But those of you that are a good fit, those of you that really do want this and are willing to take the action you say you want, to make what you say you want happen, take that action. Understand the game and be honest with yourself, looking in the mirror. Set that ego aside and say, am I really an expert? Listen, being successful and being having the ability to go out and buy these types of properties and having the money in a time when a lot of people maybe don't, which is really any time in history, and being able to take advantage of the opportunities. Opportunity doesn't look like show up with a present and a bow around it and it says, hey, this is the best deal ever. Opportunity presents itself to those people who understand the game. They can set their ego aside and say, hey, listen, what do I need to do to be an expert? Why is Shawn excited about saturated markets and I'm a little bit annoyed by him? Like if I own a property, because what that should tell you is you're just riding the wave. You're riding the market wave and you don't understand the game. It's not too late to learn the game. But to the point of, hey, I'm already an expert. Seems like you help a lot of newbies. What can you do for me? That is never what the best in the world say. Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan, Tiger Woods, they worked on the fundamentals every single day till the end of their career. And it's why they were the best in the business. So don't lose sight of the fact that we are going to be doing the exact same thing, whether you're a newbie or whether you're an expert. And like I said, we've got a lot of experts in our space and in our group, in our mentorship group, in our over 1,400 people that we've helped get into this game. But those members who in their rightfully are experts in this space that produce at a very high level, way more than a lot of the people who teach this are, and have the right to kind of claim themselves as experts. They're able to put their ego aside, work on the fundamentals every single day, understand the challenges and the opportunities and how to navigate through this vacation rental world in these shifting markets that we have right now. And so set the ego aside and understand that the fundamentals are the fundamentals, whether you're a newbie or whether you're an expert. And running down the road is monotonous. It is fairly boring once you understand the game, and it takes some discipline, and you just do it time after time after time, day after day after day. And ultimately, you build a portfolio that creates that long-term lifestyle and financial freedom that we're all looking for. So guys, that's a wrap for today. We'll try to keep these short, sweet, to the point. And as I always say to you, pick one thing you can do today to build that life that you don't want to take a vacation from. Cheers, my friends.
Thanks for joining us on this episode of the Vacation Rental Revolution podcast. Share this with other people you think need to hear about it. And don't forget to subscribe and leave us a review. Hey Grace, is there a website?
Yes! For more amazing content and expert advice, visit Vodyssey.com.
Thanks for listening, and we'll see you on the next episode.